Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet this string bikini for summertime. It's composed of 2 cups, 2 straps, halter on the top, string tie at the back, and I've also seamed up the front and added a few extra rows at the bottom. It's fully customizable. I'll just be showing the cups and like the basics of what you need to know. This is very beginner friendly if you're new to crochet, and yeah. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so for this tutorial, you are going to need 1 to 2 balls of worsted weight cotton yarn. One ball is about 70.9 grams, so something in that range. You're going to need scissors, a 5mm crochet hook if your yarn size is the same as mine, which I suggest because it is much easier to work these stitches with it. Also, I strongly recommend a cotton because it absorbs the water and then dries quickly. But this is also a great bathing suit for tanning because you can make it whatever size you want, and it's very adjustable to your particular body, and it's just easier. It has better tan lines, I guess. So the corresponding hook to that, and a few stitch markers. I've got a couple over here. Ooh. Stitch markers or safety pins or piece of yarn, whatever you use normally. All right, let's get into it. Okay, for this tutorial, you're going to need a couple basic stitches. We've got single crochet, slip stitch, of course, chain, and slip knot. So I will also be showing how to do this in this tutorial, but you might want to look for a more in-depth tutorial in the future because this won't be too in-depth. Okay, so for our slip knot, we're going to pull it like this. This is also very beginner friendly, so that's why I'm showing you right now. And we're going to, this is how I like to make it, twist it with our 2 fingers, and then when you see this loop we've created, you're going to grab the yarn that ends over here, not the working yarn that's still attached to the ball, and you're going to pull, grab it with your fingers, and now you have a slip knot. Okay, feel free to replay that. I would leave a little extra tail here because that's going to be helpful in adjusting our bikini cup a little bit. So you can grab it and pull either side to tighten it onto your hook, and we're going to start chaining. I'm going to chain 14, but I will leave a list in the description for the corresponding numbers for your bust size. So this is how you chain. That's 1. You yarn over. See the loop on your hook already. You're going to pull down with your hook, not too far down, turn it in, and pull through. So that's our second chain. So again, you're going to yarn over, pull down, turn, and pull through. It might take time to get used to this process and get like even chains, but it's worth it. So just keep practicing. If you're not getting very nice chains, see, my chains still aren't that amazing, but that doesn't really affect the project too much. And you don't want it too tight of a chain because it will make it much more difficult to place the stitches, and it'll make it a little bit smaller. So in future, for your other projects, you might want to do a looser foundation chain, like equal tension but a looser foundation chain, so that it can lay better. So right now I'm up to, each V is 1, so if you're counting your chains, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so I'm going to finish this up. 13 and 14. Okay, so for our first row, going back, we are going to skip this stitch right here, the first one by your hook, go into this second stitch from the front. You're going to yarn over like how we did our chains, but you're going to pull through this 1 loop on your hook. All right, this is for a single crochet. And now you have 2 loops on your hook. And so you're going to repeat that, yarn over, but you're going to pull through these 2 loops on your hook, and you've just made your first single crochet. So again, through the front, yarn over, through that 1 chain, yarn over, through those 2 chains. So I'm going to be repeating this process, go through there, go through there, through 1, yarn over, through 2, front post, yarn over, 1, yarn over, 2. So this is how you do single crochet. I'll get back to you when this row is done. Okay, so I've made it to the end of our row. We've got one more stitch. For this one, it's going to be slightly different. Just be careful because it's going to feel tighter. So just going to go in like you normally do. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. But for this one, we're going to do an increase. So an increase is when you put multiple stitches into one stitch. So I'm going to put a second stitch in here. So in the same hole, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is where our stitch markers, safety pin, stitch marker, piece of yarn from earlier, are going to come in handy. So you're going to place this in the second stitch you put into that stitch, because that is your increase. All right, so you're going to put that there because you're going to want to see that later. All right, and then you're just going to go one more time. This creates a triangle when you do the 3. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So this is going to make it that triangular bikini shape that we see in this bikini. All right, so now we're going to go onto the back stitches here. So it should equal the number you chained after you went into that. So it's one less than what you chained. So for me, it'll be 13. So I'll be going in, do you see that line right there? I'll just go into there because that's the back of your chain. And I normally take this yarn tail with me, so I'll put it like here. And then it gets covered up when I yarn over again. So we're just doing our normal single crochets all the way down through that back loop there. Just be counting, because when I began crochet, so sorry about that, my phone was glitching, but here I was saying I forgot when I was a beginner crocheter. Actually, let me go grab an example of it because I know where it is. All right, so as I was saying, when I was a beginner crocheter, mine were looking very uneven. So for reference, this is like my usual cup. And this was what I produced, which is very lopsided because I did an uneven amount of stitches on both sides. And so that's why it looked like that. I actually had a big fear of making like bikini cups because I thought they were going to be the hardest thing I ever made. But just letting you know, not that difficult to create. Alright, so I've made it to the end of my row. Let's just look at this. So my tail was long enough to extend all the way down, and if it's not, you can pull it a bit, but you can have more control here. So you see how there are those holes? It kind of takes that away. We can just stretch that out right now. So what you're going to want to do next is remember our chains from earlier. We're just going to go, okay, yeah, I thought it was crooked. We are going to yarn over, go down, turn, and pull through. So that's our chain. So we're going to do that every row. All right, so now you see you have all these V's right here. So you're going to want to go in. Now you have 2 of these loops on the hook or the whole V. And you're going to yarn over, pull down, pull through that V, similar to our beginning single crochet, yarn over, and pull through 2. So it's just the same thing. Insert, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're just going to be doing that until we get to our stitch marker, which I will get back to in a sec. Alright, so I've just finished the stitch right before my increase. So I'm going to take out my safety pin or stitch marker, whatever you used, and I'm going to pop that to the side, and I'm going to insert into this one, do my single crochet, but now I'm going to do my 3 single crochet. So I'm going to put my second one in there and my third one. And now I can put the stitch marker back in. If you feel comfortable enough not to do that, you can. I'm comfortable. I just want to remember this because sometimes I get too zoned out and I forget to finish up with an increase. So now you have our 3 and we just go in, and we just keep going down the other side. And I'll get back to you when I finish this, and it's pretty much the same pattern all the way out. Yeah, it's pretty simple for the cups, and you want to make 2 of these, so I'll show you how to do and start off like the next row, but it should be good. All right, be right back. All right, so I've just finished my single crochets down that side of the piece, and I'm just gonna chain 1 like I normally did. And we're gonna start single crocheting again all the way up to your increase, and you're just gonna repeat this pattern. So what you're gonna do to start off a new row, chain 1, then you're gonna start single crocheting up, see your stitch marker in your increase stitch, and then you're gonna put 3 stitches in there, continue down, chain 1, blah blah blah. Do that for however many rows fits your chest. I'll also put that in the description, the recommended number of rows per your size, I guess. But yeah, really simple here. And I'm coming up on my increase, and we're just going to increase that. So I'll get back to you when I have a finished cup, and then I'll make my second finished cup, and then we'll work on the straps. Okay. I've just finished my cup. I ended up doing 13 rows for my 14 chains, but then it was 13 chains. So do whatever fits. Try and check in between your rows what it seems to be fitting and how you want it to fit. I'm going to add this extension part. So once you finish this, we're going to go back to our chains. We're going to chain 1. So this is a bit more difficult to do because, as you can see, there are not defined V's, but I like to see that you should get the same number of rows you did doubled. So since I did 13 rows, I should get 26 stitches. So this is going to be the base I did here to make it flatter. You can do as many rows as you want of this, depending on how long you want it to be. I'm doing it on this cup separately, but you could do it connected if you wanted a different way. But for this, I'm going to chain 1, insert it, try and find a hole. It's going to be a little uneven on the first row. Do a single crochet. That's my first single crochet, and I'm just going to keep 2 until I get 26, and I will come back to you as I'm finishing my 26th row. Okay. Alright, so I just finished up that row. I also ended up weaving in my end on my way over. You can try and do that. So I have 26 stitches, and I'm going to continue building this part. So I'm going to chain 1 again, and single crochet another row, and I think I'm going to do 2 or 3 rows. I think I'm going to do 3 for this bikini, and I'll get back to you with my number of rows. Alright, so I just finished up my last row of that. Here's some better lighting there. So I ended up doing 3 rows. So now we're going to work on these side straps that are connected to the bikini. So that will be this part. Sorry, it's a little crowded over here. This part of the bikini that ties in the back to make the bow. So typically I chain 50, but chain however many you need to reach half around your back, with a little extra for the bow if you're interested in that. So I'm just gonna start chaining up. Remember how to chain, yarn over, pull through. 1, 2, and I'll speed up this up. Right, so now that I have 50, I'm going to chain one extra, 51, because I'm going to be doing a slip stitch, and I'm going to skip the first stitch. Okay, so this stitch is very similar to the single crochet in that you don't yarn over before. So what we're going to do is skip the one closest like we did on our crochet chain, go to that second stitch. It's a little, okay. We're into that second stitch, yarn over once, similar to your single crochet, go through one, but then we're not going to yarn over again, we're just going to go into that last loop. Now we have one loop, tighten it up, and we're just going to repeat that. So you're going to insert, yarn over, pull through one, pull through one. Insert, yarn over, pull through one, pull through one, and that is our slip stitch. So you can do that all the way down the chain, and I'll meet you back at the end of this chain. Alright, so I've just finished my slip stitch. I accidentally filmed this the wrong way around, so I've already cut my string. But what you want to do after you finish chaining all that and slip stitching into it, you're going to go into a stitch nearby or one of those false ones from your rows, and you're just going to slip stitch into that, chain one, and normally you just snip from your working yarn, pull through, and that chain one will act as a knot to keep that secured. So this is what you're looking like. I'm starting my second cup right now. I'll get back to you when I have 2 cups so we can work on the halter straps and the attachment of both the cups. Alright, so I've just finished up my halter straps, and this is how much yarn I have left. Keep in mind I did start with about 3/4 of a 70.9 rounded to 80 gram ball of weight 4 cotton yarn. So I just unwrapped my other one, and we're going to use this to seam it up. Okay, so we're going to make one of our slip knots. And now make sure you're using the side that you want. Okay, ready? There are 2 sides to the bikini, front and back, and make sure you flip it over to the back, the side that you don't want to be shown, for both bikinis, right? And now we are going to put them together. So I just put it on my back, and you can also tell the back by looking at the end that was weaved in there and the correct side for your straps. So now I'm going to line these 2 up, and I did the same amount of rows, same amount of everything on both sides. So I'm going to insert my hook into just a bottom that looks very similar, because we are going to be finding stitches that look very similar to each other for the first 3 rows since they are not exact V's. And I'm going to slip that loop, pull through both, and now I'm going to chain 1 to properly secure it, and that is going to count as our first slip stitch. And now we're going to go into a second spot that looks pretty similar, go in, pull through 1, and then our third one, insert on the other side, yarn over, pull through these 2 layers of the fabric, pull through 1. And now we've reached the section with V's. So you can go through V over here. The first V is kind of hard to see. And just keep going and doing slip stitches until you think that is enough for your seam. Because connecting those 2 that base really secures it. But if you just want a little more coverage, then you just keep going up. So I'll get back to you when this is pretty good for my seams. So I can chain and bind off, but remember, you can try this on and make sure it fits for you. So I'm gonna quickly try this on, and then we can weave in our ends. All right, so we've got all of these set up, and it's time to weave in our ends. This is a special part. So for your straps over here, when you have 2 strings, you could weave them in all the way, or you can just tie them together. Oh, preferably like meeting around the back so that you can hide the knot better. Tie it a couple times, and I just snip it sometimes if I don't really care too much, or if I'm just too tired to weave in the ends, but you can weave them in from this position. I just kind of want to tie it off, but you can do that for either side. I've already done that for this strap, and yeah, it works pretty well. All right, now getting into how to weave in the rest of the ends. For weaving in ends, my preferred way of doing it is just grabbing my hook, or maybe a size smaller hook so that you don't stretch it out as much, but I don't really, this one's fine. And so I'm going to insert it by the tail that I want, pull it through, not like a formal stitch, but I'm just gonna keep bringing it back and forth between the rows. So again, I'm just going into the side, grabbing my string, popping it on, pulling it to the other side, and just keep repeating until it ends up on the inside or is short enough, or whatever you need it to be. You can use it in the V's, and it's not that noticeable. Another thing you can do that I'm going to end up doing here is go onto another, just random stitches in the middle of your project, and you can just keep pulling through, and this secures it even more. So I'm just going to go for one over here. And you're just going to do that for all of these stitches. Just try and hide them. Yeah, it's pretty easy. I'll come back to you when I finish doing that, but also you can snip it, not too close, but you can snip it once you've weaved it in enough for your liking. I'll get back to you with the entirely finished bikini. All right, thanks. All right, here's the finished bikini with our halter strap and the back, of course. Oh, all the ends are tied or weaved in. Yeah, let's take a look at what it'll look like on a model. All right, here she is on a model. Of course, it won't look exactly like this because he's a he, and he's also wearing a shirt, and he's a giant doll. But here's the front seam. I'm using this as a model to show how the straps will work. We've got the top halter. See, we've got a little extra for our bow. The back, he's gonna get some nice tan lines, and the orange matches him perfectly. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if this was a helpful tutorial, and if you would like any more tutorials, or if anything was not clear in the video. Yeah, have a great rest of your day. I hope this worked out for you. Let me know in the comments below.